The most in-demand position in marketing today is the creative strategist. This job is a bit of a hybrid between traditional creative director, art director, and a social media manager, influencer manager. Creative strategists are responsible for ideating ideas for content, owned organic content, for influencer content, affiliate content, actually briefing that content to get executed, and then feedbacking it with the people they work with so it's actually good. But the secret behind being an amazing creative strategist really comes down to making a great brief. We're going to go through the format of a great brief with a bunch of content examples. This is really rooted in the content of like what this differentiators are. We're going to go through building an insight toolkit, which is about how to make content that works. I'm going to share some exact examples. Then we're going to go through the psychology of content hooks and break some videos down, and then drop some homework about how to get started if you're trying to do this for the first time. So if you ever want to make your brand content pop off on social media, your content pop off, be able to scale things at the job you work at, or just be ultra equipped for where media is going, this is the video for you. Let's lock in. So let's talk about the foundation of what's covered inside a creative brief. And a brief is a document that's given to someone who has to go create content. Now I'm going to have this Reformation example up because we're going to get into some insights around this in a second. Like all of these pieces of content I'm pulling up started with a brief. Everything from cosmetics to fashion to memes. So what's actually on them? Well, the first thing is the hook. And the hook of a piece of content is the first visual that you see, this guy on the subway in his shoes. The first thing that you read, the text on screen, can Asher outrun the train in his Mach X2? And the first audio you hear, what does someone say or what music is there? That is your hook. The hook's job is to get someone to stop. More on that later. And the second portion of the brief is the idea. What are all the references? So for instance, if I was trying to make a similar piece of content, this would be the reference that was in there. You're going to put the basics of what the video. And the third thing and the core of basically all art direction is the insight. Let's talk about insights for a second and content insights. What do we even mean by insight? An insight is a reason someone watching it is going to care. And this is what's missing. This is good content versus bad content at its core. Does it hook someone to actually watch them? Is there a reason for them to be engaged versus just selling whatever we're going to sell or just putting some mindless stuff out there? So what do we mean by that? Let's talk about your insight toolkit. If you are a creative strategist, you're going to have a couple core ideas you're able to go back to that you know resonate with consumers. I'll give some examples. When your Audi shops at Ref being Reformation, they are duplicating a shot from the Severance TV show. They are using text from the Severance TV show, the Audi concept. This is a part of the insight toolkit. It's a cultural insight. Everyone is watching this, is what I refer to it as. So if there's a common shared cultural moment, the finale of Game of Thrones, everyone's watching Severance or talking about Severance. If enough of your audience is participating in a thing, the Super Bowl, they're paying attention to Tart Island, they watch the Duolingo owl die. If there's a cultural thing that's happening that you can participate in, that is a cultural insight. So they chose to put out this video because they went, does our audience resonate with Severance? Do they understand what this is? Can we tap into that? Great. That is a cultural insight. It's at the root of the brief for a video like this. And then we have what's called a shared experience insight. This is one I love to use. So breaking in new genes, right? That's something everyone deals with. It's a complicated thing. There's a funny video made about it. But this here, POV, you said you're 5 minutes away. This is a normal video, right? She's just doing a makeup routine video. It's sped up, but they put that shared experience of, oh man, this person's coming and I'm not ready, right? That is a thing that everyone understands, everyone has been through. And that's a part of the toolkit, right? How do you take whatever idea or content you want to make? I want to make a makeup video. How do I create a shared experience insight around it? Something we've all gone through. You could do the opposite of this video. If I was brainstorming for something similar, it would be like, POV, you said you'd be there at 4, there's a clock, it says 4:15, you're in the makeup or whatever. Like there's a certain types of those things that are just recurring things we all have met with, and as a useful thing to have in your toolkit. Another insight type is cost or barrier to entry. So how to fake an eye lift, right? So this is basically positioning that, oh, I don't actually want to get an eye lift, but I want to look like I have an eye lift, or I couldn't afford an eye lift and I want to have one. And cosmetics is a great niche to look at this stuff in, because they're usually on the edge. So there's this insight that people want to have this look, might not potentially actually want to go do the thing that takes it there, and they're going to recreate that. That is an insight at the core of this piece of content. And there's aspiration. This is one of my videos. But aspiration is a great one. We're saying, hey, like this is a lifestyle thing. POV, you swore off the cursed millennial pan brands and only buy copper and steel kitchen accoutrements from a trusted source in Paris. So I'm using a combination of shared experience. People have had bad millennial pan brand experiences. That's something shared within my demographic. People would love the idea that they could actually go shop and be buying copper pans in like a location in Paris as something aspirational. I'm tying those two things together on a video that got 12,000 likes. Just a reminder as you watch this, for those who only know me from YouTube, I do really well in short form content. I live inside this both for myself and for brands, thus my ability to casually talk to you about this right here while having 12,000 likes on something. But your job in creative strategy, when you have the brief, is to go through, okay, the hook, how are we going to stop things? What's the core idea of the video? And then what's the insight? What is the thing that's going to tie people in? Is it an aspiration factor? Is there a cost factor? I can get this effect by doing X. Is there a shared experience, something that they're relating to? Is there a cultural factor that, oh, we're buying into this? Is there a problem solve? It's one of the most typical ones, right? Are we saying, hey, this is something that people deal with that we're helping solve? And there's also just pure entertainment, humor, things like that. But getting a bank of different insight types and then applying them to your briefs is the difference between making okay content and making great content. I want to zone in on that here. We're going to go through the rest of the brief process. I'm talking about some about how you actually become good at some of it. So one of the other things in every brief is formats. Does this need to be 9x16, 1x1, etc.? And I want to call out formats because one thing that when I go into companies and I'm working on creative strategy, I bring up all the time is that if you have a good idea, you have a good concept, you have something you want to get across, and you've made a video brief for it, you also can probably make a carousel brief, and you can also probably make what we call a one-shot brief. Let me break that concept down. So this is my boy. He runs a vintage account called Game Day Grails, noted Cut 30 grad. And he's making a video about the cult of the lawsuit logo. This is a moment in time. But he did this video, popular video of his, about a unique piece of vintage wear. But since his video did well, this is a pretty good performing video for him on his account, this same exact video with the same exact hook, the cult of the lawsuit logo, could probably function just as well as a carousel, where that is the hook, the cult of the lawsuit logo, you're showing this thing that sports fans really know. And you walk through the history. This happened blank, here's a couple items that reflect it, end of carousel. But you can tell that same story visually in 6 graphics. Then same thing with a one shot. If he was doing the same thing, if like he's mimicking that meme where someone's standing in the corner and there's a party or whatever it is, or like he's standing there, there's a bunch of people around him and he's like, I bet they don't even know I'm in a lawsuit logo, windbreaker, whatever it is. There's an approach you could have to take this same idea and make it a one-shot video, a 6-second text over screen clip. That's something I encourage people who are briefing to think about, because one of the foundations of good creative strategy is how do you achieve scale? That's the issue you have, right? Some people are good at making individual briefs, but the problem is there's so many assets that actually need to get made. If you are in the middle of a real performing, growing brand, you're starting to go over 5 mil to the 10 mil plus or getting an even bigger brand, you need so many ads, so many social posts, you're seeding so many influencers, you're doing UGC, you probably have multiple TikTok and Instagram accounts. There is a scale element that makes a good creative strategist, where a lot of us can sit down and really work through it and create a good brief, but can you create 10 of those a day? Can you scale that across X amount of creators and languages and regions? That's what makes an expert. But one of the biggest things I like to think about is if I had one good idea, all right, let's do this in multiple formats. That's also a carousel idea. I get to brief to the designer. It's a one-shot idea. I get to the UGC creators. We're going to do that same idea in Spanish. Like, you can begin to think about scale. And some other key parts, you have variants. Do you want to actually have different beginnings or endings to the video so you can test them? Talk a bit about that in strategy here in a minute. And then your call to action. What's the point? What do you want people to get across at the end? I'm going to walk a bit through a template of this, and we're going to get into some strategy and then some specific examples I'm going to break down, and really into hook strategy as well. So this is Foreplay, who have agreed to sponsor this video. You can find a link about them in the description. Foreplay is where I keep all of my references for brand content. Basically, it allows you to save any ads or organic ads inside of this platform. They have a dashboard where I can scroll through tons of product. They have this discovery function where I can see what other people are liking and saving and all the kinds of different content. I can go find any brand. It is a great source to be able to hunt through ads. But they also have briefs built in the platform. I'm going to show you an example of a test brief. So a quick example here, you will see brand profiles. So if you're working on multiple brands in your strategy, you can put it up there. Inspiration. So I can go grab this from my existing videos and attach inspiration into here. I want some bookmarked. I can go look and view and say, hey, I'm going to add this to the brief. That will help you. Then I have my reference in here. And then details, descriptions that we talked about, size and aspect ratio, formats, duration, what platforms it's going on, products we want to make sure are included, music. If you want to add a loom, all that goes in here. You can put details in. It's actually a little AI script generation thing here. Storyboards, if you have them, you'll know, especially when you're working with influencers, a lot of the time there'll actually be some storyboards that will go in there, especially if you want to map out a hook. You can add different scenes to it. And all this is savable and most importantly, duplicable inside of here. So I can go to my briefs down here where you see test brief. I can share it real quick. And most importantly, shareable. I can take these and I can actually go send it to people to participate in one place with the links I have from all my swipe files. But we're going to talk about hooks. I'm actually going to go into one of the boards I've made on here for this video. And then we're going to go to some strategy and some homework. So just like we had insights up there earlier, we talked about how having a consumer insight can help make a great brief. So can hooks. And the combination of both of them together is where you become a weapon. So what do I mean by hooks? So just like you have a toolkit for insights, you need a toolkit for hooks. And it's funny, I was talking talking to my friend Jason, Jason Sweat. He's another creator, and we were talking at the Shopify event I did in New York the other week. And he was talking about when he started making content. He was an art director at Amazon at the time. How the biggest insight for him was he was like, oh my God, I'm making these ads, but like I need to think like a content creator when I'm also doing these ads. I need to hook people in the same way. It's all the same psychology. And this is something I think everyone needs to get across. And one of the real reasons it's important to like really be a content creator or think like a content creator when you're doing this is that every one of these ad assets, every organic asset, you know, if you're a content creator, you know the hook is the most important thing. And then these strategies are going to tie into every single thing you do, from television campaigns to print campaigns to here. So there's a couple different types of hooks I want to call out. So this video from Hoka.
Today I'm training a little differently. Let's race this train.
He is racing a train. So this is a challenge hook. You are going to wait to see, like they set up a challenge, and you're going to wait to then see what the result is. Man is going to race train in Hokas. That is the hook. That is going to get you to stop and watch the video if you are interested in seeing a challenge complete. One style of hook. We have what's called negative hooks. This is one here. Worst sellers in store. Another one down here, our fat burner doesn't work. And you'll notice these are not like big standout high production videos. He's talking about his product. These people are talking about products they sell in stores. This thing doesn't work. This is my worst seller. Just putting that negative interaction in there. Negative content just does better. These aren't negative videos. He's explaining in the worst sellers video how to actually make videos, why people should be buying this product that's their worst seller. Another hook strategy is the unveil, like you see here, where she's actually bringing out, like unrolling something. People wait to see what is about to be unrolled. What we call displacement, where at that first shot in the video, you were looking at someone pulling pancakes out of a refrigerator with jewelry in it. You begin to wonder what's happening. That's a behind the scenes video. There's drama. Midday Squares is the kings of this. We're being extorted.
Extorted with pornography.
Like extremely strong hook. They're basically just taking reality TV and bringing it in. Drama is another one. Curiosity, one of my favorites.
Lana Del Rey walks down.
Like Lana Del Rey walks in the coffee shop. What are you going to make her? Is like one of those where like, oh, I wouldn't normally watch a coffee recipe video, but this is weird. Adrenaline is a great hook. This is a classic from 2J's where he leaps in his full outfit down below. All those are hook tactics. And so just like you built your insight bank of why would people watch this video, you should build your hook bank of what are tactics. Can I do a challenge? Can I do adrenaline? Can I do drama? Can I do displacement? Can I do curiosity? You are going to build your bank. So as a strategist, you have your insights bank, you have your hooks bank. Much like you see me in prior videos, pull up my art direction boards and go like, here's all these different art direction ideas I have with a couple examples. You can build that same exact thing out. And even here, like in foreplay, like and this is like my test account I do for these videos, but you could very easily like have a different board for each of those hook styles with your references on. So we're gonna talk about some strategy and then we're gonna get into some homework. So on strategy, one of the most important things to think about is you need to really think like a creator and ideally be a creator. Even if you're not a big YouTuber or a big Instagrammer, having gone through the process of this will make you way more useful within it. And so why do I say that? A few things. The first is there's all these little strategy components that make you better than other people that come from being a creator. The first is stuff like related video. I haven't made YouTube for that long. I put a lot of brand videos on YouTube forever. I didn't really understand the related video thing between shorts and long form, where basically you can attach a short form video to a long form video. So it's like easy to click through. And that's like a really powerful tool. And a lot of brands don't even know that it exists. They don't even know you can attach the two of those. That's like an insight you get from being a creator. Same thing with other things you have in the strategy. Trial reels. Like right now you can bang out variations of videos in trial reels if a video does well. So something that I have a lot of brands doing is we'll make a video, a high performing video. We'll go test a bunch of similar versions of it and just throw it up in trial reels. I'll throw up 5 or 6 versions of a banger video in trial reels, and we'll only show them to non-followers of our account, since you can actually scale a bunch of creative organic that way. It's like a cheat code. I would not know that if I was not running trial reels on my account. ManyChat, same thing. This is where you comment a word and you get a DM on TikTok or Instagram, wherever. That is a tool that you have when you are talking to influencers. As a strategy tool, if you understand how it works, you can ask them to do. If I was a software influencer, if I was a software creative strategist asking for a software influencer, I'd be asking for that all the time, because you're basically guaranteeing a DM call to action. You can have some measurability that's harder to get from a link in bio. But knowing all those things are little parts you have in your strategic toolkit that make you better than another creative strategist. But if you have ManyChat in your toolkit, and you're like, I know when I ask a certain creator, I can do a comment call to action, and that maybe we have to charge a little bit more or whatever, we should work that into the brief. Same thing with, hey, I want 7 variations of that ad, of this creative that we're doing internally, so I can run them as trial ads, as trial reels. That is an advantage you now have over every other creative strategist who does not know that. Another amazing one people don't do enough is recreation. Like this Reformation campaign. I use Reformation as an example all the time because they're unhinged.
So I want to know what it's
Sign up for their email list to see what I mean.
Let me show you.
So Reformation did this whole campaign where they took viral videos from existing creators had them remake the viral video, some on their account and some on the actual creator's account again, just in a Reformation outfit. This is like a genius thing I always wonder why more people don't do. I've had this happen to me once. I do 2 sponsored videos a week on Shortform. I've had one person ever be like, hey, can you just remake this video with our product? And it was a wallet video. And they were smart. They're like, hey, this thing went viral. It'll probably go viral again. It did. Like the first one did 500K, the second remake did 281 or something. That is an amazing technique to have when you're going out to influencers if you understand how to properly integrate your product. And if you are comfortable with something of, hey, I just want to show people wearing this amazing dress, whatever it is, part of the things you have in your toolkit. So your homework, if you want to enter deeper into this world of creative strategy, is one thing I always talk about is shifting your consumption of content from I'm scrolling to I'm intentionally consuming, intentionally scrolling. I want you to set a 20-minute, 30-minute calendar for yourself. Could be at night, could be wherever, where you're going to intentionally scroll on TikTok and Reels. Start a new account if you want, use your existing account, whatever. But your job is you're going to come up with hook ideas. The way I was talking about challenges or drama or whatever, you're going to say, okay, I want to bookmark in a folder, start a foreplay board, different hook types. And I also want to have insights. I'm going to think about what other insights besides the one that I outlined here are examples of those that are relevant to what you work on or of your own insights. Begin to build that toolkit. And you'll notice in a half hour, even a half hour a week of intentionally scrolling versus just scrolling, being like, I'm going to save 10 hooks. I'm going to get X examples of insights. Whatever it is, you are going to begin to build a toolkit that will turn you into a weapon when it comes to creative strategy. So anyway, try to load this video up with value because I think this is actually a really important, you can jump career steps if you are good at this. And also, like I mentioned, I know a lot of brands that need people like this. There's all these hiring stuff on Twitter that comes out around this kind of skill set. And so I think it's a useful thing overall. Please drop any questions you have below, and thank y'all so much for watching.